Hey dear fellows, today I would like to talk with you about triggers. Triggers are like colliders which can detect our presence, but we don't really collide with them. Let me show you an example of that. We've got a door. You can see we've got a collider around the door, but it's set as trigger, so we don't really collide with it, but whenever we enter this area, it will detect our presence and it will allow us to open the door when we enter this area, and whenever we leave the area, the door will close down. So let's see how it's going to work. We go to the right, the door opens, and we leave the area, the door closes. Open and close. Okay, so we are going to make something like that today. Remember that trigger is a normal collider. Just in the collider component, you need to set this as trigger, and that's it. So let's create our doors. Right click and create empty. I'll call it door. And now inside we'll need to create another door. So let's use 2D object, sprites and square. Maybe I will reset it first and then do something like that. And door, let's reset it as well. Now we need to add some colliders first to the door. Maybe I will change the name to moving door. And here we need to add component box collider. So this box collider needs to stay as normal collider because we don't want to pass through this door. We want to collide with them just in case. But now in the door, we need to add box collider as well, but set it as trigger. Now we can change the size of it. So on the X, let's make it bigger like that. And we can make it bigger on the Y axis as well. Nice. We've got our door ready. Now we need to add the script. Create C# script. Let's call it door. We'll add this script to the door object. And now we need to open it. We want to move the inner object. So we need to get a reference to those moving doors. So let's create serialize field of type transform, and let's call it door. Now we need to add events. So whenever we enter this area, this trigger, we want to open the door. So let's use on trigger enter 2D. So whenever we enter the trigger, we want to change the position of the door. So let's call door, next position, and now we want to add new vector 3. We don't want to move it on the x-axis, so just type 0. We want to move it on the y. But I don't want to hard code this value. I want to create a separate value for that. So let it be float open distance equals 5f, for example. And now we will put open distance in here. And on the z, it needs to stay at 0 as well. So thanks to that, whenever we enter this area, the door will open up. But we need to add another functionality. When we leave this area, we want them to close down. So now we will use on trigger exit this time, and we'll use exactly the same, but instead of increasing the value, we will decrease it. And that's it. It's pretty much done. So let's go back and test this out. We go to the right and it doesn't work. Why? Let's have a look, because it's a good idea to debug the problem. We've got an assign reference exception. The variable door of door has not been assigned. You probably need to assign the door variable of the door script in the inspector. Can you see how Unity tries to help us to debug our problems? It says that probably we need to assign the door variable of the door script in the inspector. So let's click on the door. Let's go down and we can see that in our script we've got a variable door and there is none. It means that there was no value assigned to this variable. We have no reference to the door. And just drag and drop this reference into that place and now everything should be fine. So let's press play again. Go to the right, the door opens, go back and it closes. Nice, open and close. Well done. So this is one of the examples on how triggers can help us with our projects, there are plenty more, like collectibles. If you play Mario, you collect coins, so this is the same idea. If we had some ammo pick, for example, that would be the same. They will have trigger on them, and whenever we enter this area, we will just collect some ammo into our inventory. And that's it. I'm sure you will find plenty of other uses for triggers, and I can assure you that we'll use them quite a lot in our projects.